to anybody except for the people I live with. But this is from a novel that's coming out this fall, a new book called The Isolate. The issue of isolation, of course, having been a major theme during the pandemic, and it's just kind of something that grew out of that. I'll give you a little background before I start reading it. Just the main character lives in stealth housing on Grand Avenue in Chicago. If you know anything about stealth architecture, it's places where people live or conduct business, and you can't tell from the outside what these buildings are. I had some friends who were members of the Surrealist group in Chicago, the Black Swan group, and I visited their house once on Grand, and this is where I got the idea from. And it looked like a warehouse from the outside. You had no idea. Once you came inside, of course, they had gardens and fountain. It was just beautiful, but it had no way of knowing that from the outside. So this is what the main character has set up for himself. I have been symbolically burying my past in the ground that I've been digging up for the fish pond. Every shovelful is the burial of something I would prefer to forget. I dig in and turn it over, and then I cart it off elsewhere not to have to think about it again. I have a mound of old injuries piled up in the yard, but they are being aired out and will be set free. And then I can lay the ground to rest. The fish pond is filled, and the filtration system is working well. I'm ready to buy tilapia. I prepare myself for this transition to the outer world. The bundling up of my body is less alarming to me than preparing for what little interaction I need to have with other people. I stand by the door, unlatch it, but before I open it, I scream as loud as I can in order to rid myself of my tension. I pause after that and wait for my heart to calm down. I have taken a mild sedative to help me face this journey, but I barely feel it through my trembling. My mouth tastes like aluminum. I feel queasy. I take some deep breaths and then deliver myself out through my front door into the sterile street that is lined with parked trucks that shield me from passing traffic. Nothing notices me, and the slap that I expected doesn't come. Today is Saturday, and although the warehouses here are closed, an aquarium supply shop is open some 12 blocks away, over in the regentrified zone. I want to get there just as the store opens, minimizing my contact with people. The gentry are sleeping off their hangovers, and those who will be awake will hopefully be too bleary to pay me much mind. I'm disguised as an old lady because elderly women are the least attended to among us. That is a shame, of course, because they hold most of the wisdom of any society. Furthermore, they have cultivated the art of camouflage and compare critiques with one another when they see the complacent dancing like marionettes to the strings of attention. On the third block, a teenage couple walks past me on the sidewalk without even noticing my existence. I'm encouraged and decide this sojourn will be successful. After another uneventful block, I turn the corner away from the warehouse district and into the regentrified community. I count that corner block as 2 since I have to travel its length twice. A coffee house seems busy on the north side of the street, so I cross early over to the south side. I slow my gait. I read once about a small household that had a pet sloth that kept to the crown molding around the living room ceiling. No one ever saw it move, but when anyone looked up at it a second time, it was in a different place than it had been before. That was my tactic for getting past the coffee drinkers on the other side of the street without being noticed. It worked. I have 5 blocks behind me and 8 to go. The next 2 are apartment complexes, so those will be safely passed by. If a resident is looking out a window and sees me, I'll be easily dismissed from consideration. But as I walk by, no one even peers out as far as I can tell. The gentry are so self-absorbed they probably don't look out their windows unless they hear a commotion. The supermarket grocer is next, and it occupies an entire block on the south side of the street. I cross over to the north side and shuffle on by easily. The morning customers are consumed by the urgency of their purchases of forgotten eggs, bacon, bagels, coffee, or whatever else they need in order to survive until noon. A panhandler outside the grocer's takes a glance at me, but then quickly turns his attention back to the emerging shoppers. I do not look like a member of the wealthy gentry worth pursuing for $1. He'd have to cross the street to get to me, and that would cause him to leave his more lucrative post at the store exit. I have a decision for the coming block. On the south side is a municipal building that is open on Saturdays. It doesn't seem very active, but as with all municipal matters, that is subject to whim. But across the street are 3 small shops: antiques, books, and stationery supplies. I decide I am safer on the north side. The gentry hates the old and especially hates reading and writing. I am surprised that these stores even exist. As I walk past them, I see they do not even open until noon. Of course they don't. As I pass the front of the bookstore, I see that the window display holds first editions of actual literary works. I see books by René Daumal, Wolfgang Borchardt, Italo Calvino, and Arno Schmidt. I do not see a popular genre work at all. I see no romances, no horror, no action-adventure. How can this place even stay in business? It must be a front for the mob. They don't want any customers. Maybe they use this for money laundering. Look at that. A first edition of Kenneth Patchen's Journal of Albion Moonlight. Ooh, that should keep the gentry away. I turn north at the end of this block. The aquarium supply shop is on this street. Looking up towards my destination, I again see almost no one out and about. A young woman in a jogging suit is walking her 2 enormous wolfhounds across the street, but they are busy soiling a lawn and distract her from noticing me at all. I see that all she's brought with her to pick up after them is a small plastic bag, the kind grocers used to use before single-use plastic bags were banned. It doesn't seem large enough, but hey, good luck. A block of apartments is next, and then comes the block with the aquarium shop. Before I get there, though, I have to deal with 3 unruly teenage boys on skateboards. They're taking up the sidewalk side by side and are coming straight at me. I think they expect me to move aside for them, but I'm an elderly woman and cannot do that. They are not looking where they are going. Instead, they are lost in a joking conversation with one another. They are upon me in an instant, and only at the last second does the one on the right, a curly-haired, gangly boy with glasses, push his companions to the left and veer off to the right himself so that they don't run into me. "Sorry, lady," he says, calling back as they continue on their way. His friends began cursing him for pushing them. "Be more careful," I yelled back in my best crackly old lady voice. Okay, finally here's the store. I enter, and the shopkeeper's bell hanging over the door announces me. "Welcome to the Aquarium Emporium," calls a young voice belonging to a 20-something-year-old young man who seems to be minding the store this morning. "How may I help you, ma'am?" "I'm not a woman, I'm a man," I say, taking my shawl off my head, straightening my hunched back, and opening my gray overcoat to reveal the gray flannel suit beneath it. After my transformation from old woman to gentleman of leisure is complete, I look at the young clerk with a scowl. "Sorry, I just thought." I look around the store, which has all its hardware positioned up front. Filtration systems, heaters, refractometers, salinity meters. These take up almost all the shelving on the left. On the right are their aquariums, displayed cleverly beneath a sign advertising that they carry more tanks than the military. "Sorry, how may I help you, sir?" "Tilapia. I need tilapia." "Ah, for farming?" "Yes, I have about 800 square feet for the purpose." "Will this be indoors?" "Yes, indeed, and climate controlled." "Okay. I was going to suggest the blue tilapia because it can tolerate colder water, but if you're raising them indoors, well, then we have a much better option for you." Do you have the Wami Mozambique hybrid tilapia? I read that they can grow from 1 ounce fingerlings to over a pound in about 4 months. That is exactly what I was going to suggest. You seem to have done your homework. I started to chuckle because I suddenly remember the old Fleetwood Mac song, Homework. I can't do my homework anymore. I half sing to myself in response. Oh, sir, even older people can do homework. You seem to have done yours. He's undoubtedly trying to compliment me, I realize, but he's really bad at it. Now I just laugh out loud. Yeah, show me the damn tilapia, will you? I shake my head in amusement. Certainly, follow me. He leads me to a back room that is filled with dozens of tanks of varying sizes, holding everything from minnows to giant koi. I see tanks of coral, of octopi, of epaulette, and wobegon sharks. And then I see the tilapia fingerlings. I recognize them immediately. In my guise, I probably cannot carry more than 3 gallons of them without eliciting suspicion or causing myself discomfort. But I have an idea. I dress up again and go back quickly to the grocer's and grab the nearest cart on the sidewalk and return with it. No one pays me any mind as I bring the cart back to the aquarium emporium. Using the cart, I'm able to buy 30 gallons worth of fish, which I then wheel back home uneventfully. By then the businesses have started to get busy and no one notices an old lady pushing a shopping cart. I do get nervous when I'm leaving the grocer's block. I'm afraid someone will stop me and accuse me of stealing the cart. But people are so entranced by the next step in front of them that they don't even see me. By the time I turn the corner onto my street, I can feel my heart beating furiously in my chest. Only a few more steps, but these last few are the longest. I walk as fast as I can to still pass as an elderly woman, but when I reach my door, I open it quickly, burst through, and bolt it in a hurry. I am panting so heavily that I need to sit down for a long time to recover. That was difficult. When I'm finally able to breathe normally, I get up and right away begin the process of introducing the fingerlings to their backyard pond. The pond has been readied, and the fish seem quite content to be freed from their plastic prison transports. I see them scatter in the pond. I turn away, knowing they will adjust to their new environment well. They have much more room than they did anywhere in transit coming to me. I go to the kitchen and sit at the counter and begin reading recipes. I hope I never have to go outside again.